Young quarterback disrespects. Aaron Rodgers, his unexpected reaction goes viral. A young quarterback, fresh into the league, made bold statements. His confidence was unmatched, and he dismissed older quarterbacks, claiming they were past their prime and that the game had evolved beyond their capabilities. When asked about Aaron Rodgers, the seasoned veteran, he responded, "Aaron Rodgers was great. It was great. But his time is over. This is a new era. Defenses are faster now, and the old guys simply cannot keep up." The statement spread quickly. Reporters sought Rodgers' reaction. They repeated the young quarterback's words to him, hoping to catch him off guard. Rodgers' response was calm. "That is cute," he said, smirking. "I have heard a lot of guys talk before, but talking and proving are two different things." The media buzzed, with the clip quickly gaining traction online. The young quarterback, not one to back down, took to social media to further clarify his stance. "Respect to Rodgers, but let us be hones that cannot do what we do anymore. The game has changed, and it is time for the torch to be passed," he tweeted. Rodgers, however, did not engage online. Instead, when a scheduled charity event came around, he was asked about the young quarterback's comments once again. Rodgers' response was different this time. "I do not need to type out my response," he said with a sly grin. "I will show it." The challenge was set. Rodgers had made his statement. The stage was set for a showdown, and everyone would be watching. The challenge was set, but it did not end there. The young quarterback was eager to show his confidence, believing his words had already done the talking. After all, he had dismissed Rodgers' relevance, claiming that the game had changed and the veterans could not keep up. He was ready to prove it on the field, convinced that his time had arrived. A few days later, Rodgers and the young quarterback stood side by side at the charity event, with cameras capturing every moment. The media buzzed, awaiting the next move in this budding rivalry. Rodgers broke the silence. "Let us make this interesting," he said, his calm demeanor remaining unshaken. "Let us throw." The young quarterback raised an eyebrow, unsure of what exactly Rodgers had in mind. The challenge was clear. Rodgers wanted to show that his skill had not diminished with age. The stakes were high, but the young quarterback did not back down. "All right, let us see what you have got," he replied, his voice dripping with confidence. A staff member set up a target drill with 5 rings placed at various distances. The rules were simple: each quarterback would throw 5 passes, and the goal was to hit the rings. The young quarterback went first, taking the ball with confidence. His throws were solid, though not flawless. His first hit the edge of the ring, but went through. The second one was off, but the third and fourth hit clean. The fifth barely missed, and he smiled, turning to the crowd. 3 out of 5. Not bad. Rodgers picked up the ball with ease. His throws were precise each, one landing perfectly in the center of the rings. The crowd went silent in awe as Rodgers completed the drill with flawless accuracy. The young quarterback's smile faded. Rodgers turned to him, a hint of a smirk on his face. The game may change, but precision does not. The young quarterback stood there, watching Rodgers' perfect throws. His confidence was starting to waver, but he quickly masked it with a shrug. "All right, you still got it," he said, trying to maintain his composure. "But drills do not win games." Rodgers did not respond immediately, instead giving a slight nod. "Games are not won by talking either," he said, his voice calm but pointed. The media captured every moment of the challenge, and the video quickly spread across social platforms. Fans began debating whether Rodgers had proven his point, or if the young quarterback still had what it took. Some supported the veteran, admiring his precision and experience, while others argued that the future belonged to the young quarterback, who had shown promise with his earlier throws. But the young quarterback was not backing down. His words echoed in the minds of fans and reporters alike. Football is a young man's game now. He was not about to let a drill determine the narrative. there was still one thing that mattered: performance on the field. And that was exactly what he was preparing for. The game was fast approaching. The media, hungry for a story, quickly dubbed it the veteran versus the future, a battle that would define the next chapter of the NFL. Rodgers, now a seasoned player with numerous accolades, against the young quarterback who had only just begun to carve his name into the league. As the day of the game drew closer, the pressure mounted. The young quarterback embraced the hype, proudly stating in an interview, "Rodgers had his time, but football is moving forward. I am ready to take over." Rodgers, when asked about the upcoming matchup, simply smiled and replied, "I do not respond to words. I respond on Sundays." The countdown to game day had officially begun. The hype surrounding the game reached a fever pitch. Fans were eagerly waiting to see if the young quarterback could back up his bold words on the field, or if Rodgers would prove once again why he was considered one of the greatest of all time. As the players prepared for the showdown, the stadium buzzed with anticipation. The media was there in full force, capturing every moment leading up to the game. The young quarterback, however, seemed unfazed by the pressure. In his mind, this was his moment. He had talked, and now it was time to walk the walk. The game began, and the young quarterback wasted no time asserting himself. His team won the coin toss and chose to receive the ball first, giving him the opportunity to set the tone early. With the stadium roaring, he jogged onto the field, helmet securely fastened, eyes locked in on the task ahead. Rodgers, standing on the sideline, watched intently, not one to make a spectacle of himself before the game had even begun. The young quarterback started strong, with a quick pass for a short gain. The next play was even more impressive. Perfect, deep throw down the sideline, which was caught in stride by his receiver. The crowd erupted in cheers as the young quarterback smirked and glanced over at Rodgers. He could feel the weight of the moment. "This is the new era," he muttered under his breath, just loud enough for a nearby camera to catch. As the drive continued, the young quarterback was in control. He made quick decisions, avoided pressure, and connected on short, precise throws. His confidence was growing with every successful pass. He was playing with a sense of purpose. His team was moving the ball down the field efficiently, and the scoreboard was starting to reflect his early success. As the young quarterback continued to lead his team down the field, the atmosphere in the stadium shifted. The crowd was electric, sensing something big was about to happen. His team was advancing steadily, and with each pass, his confidence grew. The young quarterback feel the weight of the challenge lifting off his shoulders. He was proving it was the future of the game. Finally, after a series of efficient throws and a couple of key runs, they reached the 10-yard line. The young quarterback was on the cusp of making a statement. This would be his moment to prove to Rodgers and to everyone watching that he had what it took to lead a team in this new era of football. The defense was tight, but the young quarterback was not intimidated. He scanned the field, looking for an opening. He saw his receiver running a quick route across the middle, and he knew this was his chance. He took the snap, stepped up in the pocket, and launched a bullet pass into the end zone. The ball sailed through the air, perfectly on target. His receiver caught it cleanly, just over the defender's outstretched arm, and the crowd went wild. Touchdown. The young quarterback stood tall, arms raised in triumph. He turned to Rodgers, who was still on the sideline, watching without expression. It was clear that the young quarterback had made his mark. This was his time. He pointed at Rodgers from across the field, a clear challenge. "Your turn," he mouthed. Rodgers did not flinch. He did not need to. He simply grabbed his helmet and jogged onto the field with a quiet intensity. There was no need for words, no need for any bravado. Rodgers' approach was always the same: calm, focused, and methodical. This was not about proving anything to anyone. This was about winning. The young quarterback had made his play, and now it was Rodgers' turn. The tension in the air was palpable as Rodgers took the snap on his first play. He was in no rush. The defense came at him, but he was unfazed. With precision, Rodgers fired a quick pass for a first down. The ball was released with such accuracy that it was as if the defense had no chance. He moved the ball effortlessly, picking apart the defense with quick strikes. He was showing no signs of slowing down, no signs of being past his prime. The game continued to unfold as a back-and-forth battle. The young quarterback made several impressive throws, demonstrating his arm strength and athleticism, but Rodgers responded with even more surgical precision. It was clear Rodgers had not lost a step. Every throw was crisp, every decision calculated. It was not just about the arm strength, it was about the mind, the experience, and the ability to handle pressure. By the fourth quarter, the score was tied. The two quarterbacks had traded blows all game, but it was clear that only one would emerge victorious. The young quarterback had done well, but there was still one final test, the last drive, the moment that would decide the game. The young quarterback now had a chance to make a statement that could define his career, but the pressure was mounting. As the game clock ticked down, the young quarterback lined up at the 25-yard line. He had just under a minute left, and this was the moment he had been waiting for. The crowd was on the edge of their seats. He could hear the roar of the fans, but his focus was razor sharp. The defense was set, and he had to be perfect. One mistake, and the game could slip away. Rodgers stood on the sideline, arms crossed, watching the young quarterback closely. He had been in this position countless times before. He knew the feeling. This was where legends were. The young quarterback had the chance to prove his place in the league, but it was not just about talent. It was about composure, decision-making, and understanding the moment. The young quarterback took the snap. His first pass was a short completion for a 5-yard gain. He was moving fast, keeping the defense on their heels. The next pass was a quick slant, good for 8 yards and another first down. He hurried his team to the line, knowing the clock was ticking. The defense was adjusting, but the young quarterback was still in control. He threw another short pass, moving the chains once more. The clock continued to wind down, and the young quarterback was starting to feel the pressure. But then, on the next play, something shifted. He dropped back and saw a window a deep route was open. The receiver had a step on his man, and this could be the moment that would seal the game. With the defense closing in, the young quarterback stepped up in the pocket and launched a perfect spiral down the field. The ball flew through the air, the crowd holding its breath. The receiver reached out, but then, out of nowhere, a defender leapt in front, cutting off pass. Interception. The stadium erupted. The defender sprinted down the sideline, sealing the game. The young quarterback stood frozen for a moment, watching in disbelief. One throw, one mistake, and everything had slipped away. The interception was a crushing blow. The young quarterback stood motionless on the field, staring at the defender as he sprinted down the sideline, sealing the game. Just moments ago, he had been in complete control, confident that this final drive would be his defining moment. But now, it is over. Rodgers, ever the professional, walked onto the field with no celebration, no expression of victory. He simply jogged to midfield, passing the young quarterback without a word. The young quarterback stood there, stunned, hands on his hips, replaying the moment in his mind. He had thought he had the game in his grasp, but one wrong decision had cost him everything. Rodgers, seeing the young quarterback's frustration, walked over to him. He placed a hand on the young quarterback's shoulder, his voice calm and measured. "You had them," he said, "but you need to know. You cannot just think, you have to know." The young quarterback exhaled deeply, nodding slowly. His mistake had been costly, but Rodgers' words cut deeper. "I thought my guy was open," he admitted quietly. Rodgers nodded. "You thought. But in this game, that is not enough." The young quarterback watched Rodgers walk away, understanding that this loss was a lesson he would never forget. The young quarterback sat on the bench, staring blankly at the field. His head was filled with conflicting thoughts, regret, frustration, and a growing understanding. He had talked a big game, but it was clear now that words meant nothing without action. Rodgers had been right. The game was won in the moments that mattered most, not in the hype. The young quarterback's phone buzzed. A text from Rodgers appeared on the screen. "You played well. Now, learn from it." The young quarterback stared at the message for a moment, his resolve strengthening. He would not forget this lesson. The next morning, sports shows debated the game, analyzing every throw, every play. Some praised the young quarterback for his talent, while others questioned his decision-making in critical moments. But the one thing that everyone could agree on was that this rivalry was far from over. The young quarterback had shown flashes of brilliance, but Rodgers had once again proven why experience could not be overlooked. In a post-game interview, the young quarterback admitted, "I said what I said, but last night learned something. Talking and proving are two different things." Rodgers, when asked about the young quarterback, simply nodded. "He has talent, but talent alone is not enough. It is what you do in the biggest moments that counts." As the young quarterback prepared for the next challenge, he knew that this was only the beginning. The loss stung, but it would fuel his determination to improve. The NFL was watching, and he was ready to rise to the occasion. This rivalry was just getting started. The young quarterback would return stronger, knowing that with each challenge, he would grow, evolve, and eventually prove that the future of the game was in his hands. What do you think? Can the young quarterback rise to the challenge, or will Rodgers continue to dominate? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.